Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing on this Friday morning? Happy Friday, everyone. It is August 7th. How's everybody doing on this Friday? Hopefully, you all had a great week. Hopefully, you're all gearing up for the weekend. Shout out to the folks in the chat. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit that subscribe. Keep sharing this channel out with everybody you know. I would greatly appreciate it. We are about the strike zone is about 20 subscribers away from hitting 3,000. So there's 20 people out there that have not hit the subscribe button and you're watching for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that 3,000 number. So I put a poll out there and I wanted to ask the question, right? Should the Yankees commit to Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham, right? So I'm not saying that the move is going to happen right this very second, right? It's not going to happen right now, right at this very moment. I'm more thinking, should the Yankees play Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham once some of the reinforcements come back to the Yankees, right? When guys like Bellinger, Judge, Stanton, when these guys come back from the IL, should the Yankees make a commitment to playing Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham? Now, I know there's a lot of people that like to use the argument that Spencer Jones does strike out a lot, which you're not going to hear an argument from me. Yes, he does strike out a lot. He's still new when it comes to playing in the majors. He's been better, right, compared to his first call up. I mean, his first call up, yeah, he struggled mightily, but I expected it. This is a guy that was called up to the majors for the first time. I think, in my opinion, I think he was overdue, but he got called up. He struggled, and not to mention he was facing some pretty lethal pitching. I mean, his Major League Baseball debut, he faced Jacob Mizorowski of the Brewers. I mean, that is no joke. That is no joke. I mean, for your rookie seat, your debut, and you're facing a guy who throws, he could throw anywhere between 100 and 104 miles per hour. That's not easy, right? But his first time called up, he struggled. And at least I had a feeling he was going to struggle. It was to be expected. But I was excited that he was getting his shot. He was getting his chance. All right. Now he got sent back down, got called up again. His second time around, he started to look better. It looked like he was making some progress. He's definitely made some progress. And I feel like right now, yeah, he's been struggling, but I wanted to point out, I wanted to show the last 30 games of how he's been, right? So Spence, last 15, 30 games, in comparison to Trent Grisham, right? What his numbers look like. They're not great by any stretch, right? Grisham's numbers are not great either. Now, the reason why I'm asking this question about Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham is because of the fact that Spencer Jones, in my mind, is a better defender. He plays much better defense. He's got more speed than Trent Grisham. And on top of that, you could put him anywhere in the outfield. So he's not just locked in at center field. You could also put him in left. You could put him in right, when needed. So he does provide that versatility. And you could say that in certain situations you might be able to trust Trent Grisham better offensively. But once again, the bats have been a problem for the New York Yankees, right? The offense has been atrocious for the New York Yankees. And that's been the argument. That's been the complaint, right? When it comes to the Yankees as of late, especially right now. I'll pull up some of these offensive numbers on the screen too, just to give you all an idea where the Yankees are offensively. Okay, now let me pull up the numbers for Spencer Jones. Pull up his splits. Let me. Hopefully, y'all could see this. I want to make sure y'all could see it. So those are Spencer Jones numbers when you look at over the last 7 games, 15 games, the last 30 games. All right. So let's just look at over the last month. He's batting 200 with a 281 on base percentage, 425 slugging. Last 15 games, 209 with a 261 on base percentage, 465 slugging. Um, with the last 7 games, right, as you can see, 167 average, on base percentage of 200, a slugging of 417. The numbers are not great. He needs more. He definitely needs more time. I mean, he's going to go through his struggles. There's no doubt about it. Right? The same thing with George Lombard Jr. He's going to go through his struggles. Defensively, we know what George Lombard could do. Defensively, we've already seen what he can do. He's shown more promise at shortstop at the major league level than Anthony Volpe has when he was playing for the Yankees for the last 3 seasons, 3-4 years. So Lombard defensively shows more promise already. What Lombard does with the bat is still a question mark, but the Yankees committed to him, right? So I'm thinking, why not commit to Spencer Jones? If you're committing to George Lombard, you called him up now, right? And obviously, even if he wasn't called up, he was gonna be in the works. He was part of the long term plan at shortstop. I don't think any of us had any doubt, right? It certainly wasn't going to be Volpe. It certainly wasn't going to be Caballero. You're sticking with Lombard. In this situation, why not commit to Spencer Jones? Why not commit to Spencer Jones? Now, Spencer Jones, a long-term solution? That's a question mark. But you have to give him the same type of commitment that you gave to Anthony Volpe. You got to give the same type of commitment to Spencer Jones, the same way you're giving a commitment to Will Warren, to Cam Schlittler, to Ben Rice, right? Austin Wells. Okay, you gotta give these guys a shot. Dominguez, right? We'll even talk about Dominguez. You got to give Spencer Jones that same type of opportunity. Now, are the Yankees going to commit to Spencer Jones when the guys on the IL come back? It wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees option Jones back to AAA. It wouldn't surprise me. Then we know Grisham's contract is going to be up after the season, and then the Yankees have to figure out what's the plan for center field. Do they go out into the market, or should they commit to Spencer Jones? Right? And is Dominguez even still part of that conversation for center field? I doubt it, but that's a question for later. Now, those are Spencer Jones numbers, right? I'm going to pull up Trent Grisham real quick. So let me pull up Trent Grisham really quick. Let me do this. Boom, boom. All right, Trent Grisham. So I'm going to show you these numbers from Trent Grisham. All right. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Hopefully y'all could see it. So in the last month, the last 30 games, Grisham is batting 168. On base percentage 237. Slugging 318. Look at the last 15. 132, 207, 208. Last 7 games, 192, 222, 346. Not any better, really. Not any better. The numbers are not any better for Trent Grisham. Now, Grisham's defense, and it sucks to say this, right? Because prior to Trent Grisham getting hurt, he was actually showing improvement, right? Grisham was showing great improvement. At one point, his batting average was over 300 over a 30 or a 15 game period before his injury. However, he got hurt. He had that hamstring injury and knocked him out for a little bit. And he's come back and, hasn't been better. And the numbers are seen right here. So these numbers are not better at all, right? They're not better. I mean, both him and Jones are not playing well offensively. But why not make the commitment? I still say why not make the commitment towards towards Jones, even if it's in the short term, right? Why not make that commitment? So I understand a lot of people may not be confident in Spencer Jones. I get it, but you know we have to believe though, right? I mean, at least I believe Spencer Jones could be the player I think he could be. I've always been I've been a Spencer Jones advocate. And if he doesn't pan out, then fine, he doesn't pan out. But of course, I'm always going to manage my expectations. I'm not gonna necessarily expect big things, right out the gate. I'm not gonna jump on the hype train that everybody jumped on when it came to Anthony Volpe, when it came to Austin Wells, when it came to any of the prospects that was seen as potentials and had bright futures. But I think in the short term, right, when some of the players that come back from the IL, when they come back, I think the Yankees should commit to Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham. I think that. I think that because again, Jones plays a better defense. He's got more speed. You could put him anywhere in the outfield. And there's plays that Grisham doesn't make that I think Jones makes. Right? Again, he's gonna have his moments. He's not gonna always be perfect, but I think some of those plays that Grisham doesn't make, that I think Spencer Jones makes those plays. At least that's how I feel about it. Right. So to me, I think if you are committing to George Lombard right now, if you're committing to a guy like George Lombard right now, which I can't blame the Yankees for pulling the trigger right now on George Lombard because you weren't getting you weren't getting production out of Anthony Volpe. I know, big surprise. Caballero's kind of fallen off too, right? But if you're committing to George Lombard, I think that same type of commitment should be given to Spencer Jones as well, and it's not going to hurt. Grisham's gone after the season anyway. He's going to be a free agent. There's no world where I see the Yankees bringing him back. Right? I know I've seen some tweets on X, folks, certain individuals talking about, bringing back Spencer or bringing back Trent Grisham on a short-term contract. I for one am not for that. I don't want to bring Grisham back. I like Trent Grisham. He seems like a cool guy, right? He's a great guy, but last year I loved what he did. This year I was hoping for same results, maybe if not same results, a little bit better, but surely not the case. He's definitely hit a wall. So again, I don't see what's wrong with going with Jones over Grisham, and even in the short term. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So let me say what's up to the chat real quick. I've been going off, not going off, but talking away here for 15 minutes. I haven't even said what's up to the chat. We got Jake in the building, Katie, Jonathan, Stephen B, Joseph Salvatore. What's up? Who else we got in the building? Lou is in the building. Katie, I already said what's up to Katie. Dev, what's up, Dev? Dev's in the building. Who else we got in the building? Jonathan's in the building. Rodney's in the building. What up, man? Shout out to Rodney. Yes. Theo's in the building. What's up? Yeah, and the hitting is the issue. Like I was talking about, that's why I pulled up the numbers between Grisham and Spencer Jones. Neither one of those guys are hitting, but guess what? Nobody in the lineup is freaking hitting. All right. Nobody in the lineup is hitting. So that's a problem. And I'm not going to just necessarily say it's all okay. We got some construction people. Sorry about the banging. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, there's some banging going on right now. And I knew they were going to do replace the roof here at my complex that I live in. I didn't know they were going to start today though. So if this is going to be a problem, I'll probably end the live stream right here. God, this is annoying. I'm kind of annoyed. Nah, nope. Nah, nobody's trying to break into my house. I'm just reading some of the comments real quick. But yeah, Jake says, like I said, I don't think Jones is the future of this club. I think Jones should be playing over Grisham, but I don't think he has a great bat. I mean, he actually does have a great bat. We've seen it in the minors. The guy could hit. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He can hit. Yes, he does strike out a lot, but yeah, but same could be said about the rest of the lineup. I would like to see Arias on the team next year. Well, Arias, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about that another time. But let me see more of the comments here. Um, if I have earbuds, it'll block the noise. Yeah, I might have to get some ear. I do have some earbuds. They're not next to me right now, but yeah, the earbuds would definitely help. But I do apologize about the noise, about the banging there. So yeah, nobody's trying to break into my house or anything like that. Don't worry about that. Well, and that's the thing, Jake. Right? Dominguez has a good bat. What up, Hector? Dominguez has a good bat, but the problem is defense. I don't like the way he takes those routes on a fly ball. Now, before he got sent down, he was definitely better. He was showing some improvement in right field. He was showing some improvement in right field. I liked the way he looked in right field. I think right field would be a better position for him. I think so. That's a thing. But more or less, I want to talk about just more or less if should Spencer Jones take over for Grisham in the short term, even right. My thing is, I think he should. I think he should. We could talk about the bats for both guys being bad, but again, from a defensive standpoint, I think we all know that Jones is better than Grisham. I think we all know Jones is better than Grisham, but ultimately, ultimately, it's like I said earlier. Would it surprise me if Jones gets sent down once guys like Bellinger, Judge, and Stanton come back? It wouldn't surprise me one bit. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I think Jones gets sent down. They'll stick with Grisham, and Grisham, obviously, like I said, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season anyway. So, you know, and the Yankees are going to move on from him. So they probably will stick with Trent Grisham. NY Loto 85. What's up, man? First time seeing you. Welcome. I'd rather play Dominguez, to be honest. He can hit, and the team needs hitting right now. Jones strikes out too much. Well, Dominguez, let me pull up his numbers real quick. I want to see his numbers before he got sent down. I mean, his numbers before he got sent down, not spectacular. I mean, better than Jones and Grisham. But he's also seen more playing time at the major league level. And Jay Witt says Jones is the best option, in my opinion, until Belly and Judge get back. At that time, DFA trend to keep Jones as your backup outfielder. He can play all three spots. I mean, Yankees have Jones, they have Heliot Ramos. They got Judge, they got Belly. So they got some outfielders, no doubt. But yeah, let me post the numbers for Dominguez real quick. What's up, Armand? How you been? Jones should start in center over Grisham until Bellinger comes back. Then Jones can platoon with Ramos and left, and Bellinger plays center every day. So that answers my question then on what your thoughts are. So yeah, let me pull up Dominguez's numbers real quick, and I would love to get everybody's your guys' thoughts on this. So here's Dominguez's numbers. All right, so this was these were the numbers: last 30, last 15, last 7. 241, 285, 362. Those are his numbers for the last 30 games. Last 15, 233, 281, 333. Last 7 games, 222, 300, 296. A little better than Grisham and Jones, but is it a difference maker? Is it a difference maker? And I know a lot. Again, I know a lot of people are talking about Jones and the strikeout rate. I know a lot of people talking about Jones, and there's things that he's missing in his swing. I'm seeing the comments. I understand, but we all got to remember too, when Aaron Judge first came up in this league, the guy was striking out left and right. The guy was striking out so much. His K rate was ridiculous when he first came up. He made improvements over time, right? He made improvements over time, and I'm glad to see it. I think Jones can reach that potential. Oh, real quick, folks. So not big news, but the Yankees, according to this tweet, I just saw a tweet here. The Yankees signed catcher Mitch Garver to a minor league deal with the New York Yankees, and he's going to report to the Rail Riders and has an opt out later this month. So I want to make sure I want to make sure this is true because it was an X account. Again, I'm not saying it is true, but let me see this real quick. So yeah, Dominguez's numbers a little bit better than Grisham and Spencer Jones, but again, the problem with Jones is his defense. If he could improve, if he can improve defensively, I got no problems playing Dominguez out there. I don't. So defense is still an issue when it comes to Dominguez. I know what you're thinking. I mean, if who care? Some people might be saying, "Who cares about the defense if these guys are not hitting?" But defense is going to matter. Defense will always matter, right? So, Dominguez could very well get a shot. I think he will. He probably won't get called up again this season. Assuming there's a baseball season next year, he'll fight fight for a spot in the outfield. That's what I think. I think he'll definitely fight for a spot. Him and Jones will definitely be competing for a spot. There's definitely gonna be question marks on what this team is gonna look like next year. Of course, there's always those question marks, not just for next year, but every year, right? So New York, he just got here. Everyone strikes out in the majors. Yeah, big time. Uh, Railbird says Anfield until reinforcements get back. Stay with Jones. Trent has lost a step or two on closing to pop flies. I agree. No news on Roto World. Okay, yeah, I know. It was some. It was some account that posted on X. I don't know if it's true, but I just saw it. Somebody posted it. I'm not saying I'm just waiting for like a report from somebody connected with the Yankees or any of the beat writers. Just making sure that it is confirmed. It's legitimate. But anyway, we'll check on that. But those are the numbers for Dominguez. So a little bit better. Wouldn't say much better, but a little bit better. But you know, the offense as a whole, though, the offense as a whole sucks. The offense as a whole has just been horrendous. Um, and Jay Wood says Judge still strikes out a lot, as does Stanton and now Rice. It happens with power hitters. Jones has, I think, two less RBIs than Wells already. Well, yeah, and yeah, Judge still he does strike out a lot, still does. I mean, it's inevitable with Judge. It's inevitable with Stanton. Rice is the same way. Uh, you could argue Jazz is the same way too. Jazz Chisholm. NY Loto 85 says we need to sign a Rise this offseason. I'd be cool with that. I wonder what the asking price would be for a Rise. I mean, I say it doesn't matter. I mean, he's definitely an option, no doubt. I definitely don't want Jazz coming back, unfortunately. Grisham's never been a great hitter. He had an outlier last year, but if you look at previous years, yeah, I never made the claim that Grisham was a great hitter. Grisham has come, Grisham is average, right? And the fact of the matter is, he's I'll give him this. He's come through in a lot of clutch moments. He's come through in a lot of big moments. Trent Grisham. That was his thing, but not so much this year though. Right? He doesn't have that same pop as he did last year. I at least wanted him to play as well as he did last year, or if not, just slightly better. So, what's up, Apex? Uh, yeah, Bellinger prior to his injury, he was definitely struggling. But I think I also say Cody Bellinger. I think he was pushing too much at the plate. I think he was trying way too hard. I think all these guys right now in the lineup are trying way too hard. But let me see the poll here. I want to see everybody's answers. So 21 votes and 95% of you said that the Yankees should move forward with Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham. So the majority of you agree then, right? I'm assuming you all agree in the short term. But here's the thing. It's gonna take more than one or two players for the entire lineup to improve or to get better. It does hurt the lineup, especially having not having your three big bats. I mean, not having Judge, not having Stanton, not having Bellinger, um, not having these guys on the in the lineup. It is going to affect the lineup big time. What's up, Sunil? It is going to affect the lineup. Ultimately, it's going to. So I think once these three guys come back, I mean, of course, there's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment period when it comes to getting back into the groove of things with these guys because when you come back from injury, you haven't played in a while. Your rhythm is going to be off a little bit. So you got to give these guys a little bit of time to get into that rhythm. Now, I want to talk about. I do want to talk about the offense, though. The offense for the New York Yankees has just been, uh, it's been beyond terrible. It's been beyond terrible, right? Jay Witt says, I'm actually worried about Ramos in left field. He looks a little shaky with his defense. I think that's why I think, honestly, that's why I think you put him in right field. Yeah, Sunil says Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Cody Bellinger returned, then you DFA Trent Grisham. Honestly, I would. I mean, he's done after the season anyway. Yeah, he's getting paid $22 million, but guess what? You know, some folks might say they're not going to DFA a guy that's getting paid $22 million. They DFA'd DJ LeMahieu last year. They paid him for last season. They're also paying him for his final year, which is this season, right? So, I mean, they could DFA Trent Grisham. But like I said, it's not going to surprise me one bit that if they stick with Grisham and option Spencer Jones back down to AAA. But yeah, the Yankees offensive struggles though. It's been horrendous when it comes to their offensive struggles. Um, I don't know if y'all could see this. I'll zoom in. Yeah, these are the listed teams. DFA Grisham after paying him $22 million. He's going to get paid one way or another there, Felix. Like I said, they DFA'd DJ LeMahieu with 2 years left, right? They DFA'd him last year. They paid him last year. He's on the books for this year, and then he's done. They did the same thing to everyone's favorite player, Aaron Hicks. They committed to him long term. So, they paid out the rest of his ridiculous contract, and they cut ties with him. The season's almost over. DFA him in September, and it won't cost much. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway, look at these offensive numbers, man, from the Yankees. Batting average, they're 28th. So almost dead last with batting average, 231, right? On base percentage, they fell off, right? They fell, man. On base percentage, where are they? Let's find them. They're 25th, right, with 310. They're tied with the Reds for 24th, but it's like a three-way tie between the Reds, Yankees, Mariners. It's a three-way tie. Slugging, they're in the top 10. They're at 412. They're in a three-way tie. Pirates, Tigers, Yankees. OPS is definitely falling. They are 14th with 721. So they were in the top there with on base percentage, slugging, and OPS. Batting average still wasn't that great, but they have dropped in all three categories. So, offensive production has been bad for the Yankees. So I'm not saying that the switch between Jones and Grisham is going to bring immediate results. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just like with George Lombard getting brought up, I'm not saying he's gonna bring immediate results either. Right, when we're talking about the bat. Um, it's with guys like Lombard, it's gonna take time. And then with Jones, he just needs to. I mean, he's been getting a lot of playing time, which is great. But he needs to play. I think that needs to continue. I don't think personally, I don't think he should get sent back down. But that's just me. All right. Dead last on batting average, near at the top in pitching. That's pure. Yeah, I mean, Yankees pitching has been great. Yankees pitching has been awesome. Um, we know the pitching has been good. I still wanted them to get one or two bullpen arms. However, wasn't the case. Sounds like the guys that they wanted, right? Didn't guys like Morahan or Mason Miller. I mean, these guys were staying put. These guys weren't going anywhere. Morahan's going to be a free agent. Maybe Brian Cashman targets him during the offseason. But the offseason is going to be one big question mark because we don't know what's going to happen if teams are going to be committing to signing players, especially with the CBA expiring, and what's going to happen, next, right? Is there going to be a season? But that's a conversation for a different day. Since Judge injury went from 5.1, yeah, I mean, yeah, since Judge got hurt, yeah, it got worse. They were still able to hold their own. They were still managing to hold their own. I mean, look, they beat a good Phillies team without Aaron Judge. They won that series 2 out of 3. They beat a very good a Cubs team that just swept the Los Angeles Dodgers. They beat the Cubs 2 out of 3. I mean, those were two series that I was worried about when it came to the Yankees. So yeah, I you know the Yankees they managed to hold their own. The offense was still bad, right? The offense was still bad for those guys, but the pitching certainly helped out big time. The pitching's been phenomenal this year. They've had their moments of sucking, but you gotta at some point the offense has got to start picking it up. They don't have a choice. Yeah, you got the guys that are hurt, right? You got Bellinger that's hurt. You got Judge that's hurt. We already know that, right? We've talked about it a million times with the guys that are hurt. They're hurt, 100%. But right now, the guys in the lineup that are playing right now, they got to step up. There's really no secret formula to this. They have to go out there and improve. The at bats need to be better. The opportunities that are in front of them, they need to improve on those opportunities that are presented to them. That final game against the St. Louis Cardinals, I couldn't believe my eyes, man. Like how many opportunities can you possibly have can be possibly given to you and you don't take advantage? It's so frustrating to see, man. It's so frustrating to see. And what was it? Like they left like 10 men on base. They were like 0 for 9, 0 for 8. I think with runners in scoring position. It was atrocious. Um, Jonathan, about 20 subscribers away from hitting 3,000. So, like I said, if there's anybody watching for the first time, you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel to 3,000. We're about 20 subs away. Well, Stephen B. Yeah, they wanted Lombard Jr. Lombard Jr. was the centerpiece in a lot of conversations during the deadline, and Cashman was not going to give up Lombard. I don't blame him. Imagine if you traded Lombard, then you would have been stuck with Volpe and Caballero. How many people would be satisfied with that? Yeah, the Bronx would be burning for sure. Yeah, and listen, with the with the guys that are hurt and some of the guys that are playing right now in their place. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be as good as the guys that are everyday starters, right? They're not going to be as good as Stanton, Bellinger, or Judge. Your bench players are not going to be is not going to be $150 million bench. They're backups for a reason. They get paid the money that they get paid for a reason. You know, they're not going to give you the same type of production. They're not going to. It's as simple as that. but they still have to go out there and do their job. I mean, the backups are, they try, they've been trying. They're trying to do everything that they can to keep this team afloat, but you can only rely on the backups for so long. You need your star players, you need your starters, you need your guys that play every day to be up there playing, right? If only they weren't hurt. I mean, injuries, unfortunately, are part of the sport, part of the business. Nothing you could do about it. Ronnie says Volpe has played his last game in stripes. Probably. I would hope so. Right. I'm not going to go on a Volpe bashing train. I mean, we already know how we feel about Anthony Volpe, right? We know, he's as a person, he seems like a cool guy, right? He seems like a nice guy. I do have to give it up to him, day in, day out, even though he did not contribute a whole lot to the team. I mean, there's been times where he still went out there with his head high, did his thing, tried to do his best, but it wasn't good enough, right? I think on another organization, assuming that he's not part of the Yankees organization anymore, I think he'll thrive on another team. And for his sake, I hope he does. I'll be rooting for him, right? I'll be rooting for him. So, it's the same. It's the same thing with any player that I liked and is not a member of the New York Yankees anymore. I'll root for him. I'll root for him because I want them. I still want them to succeed. But there's also rumblings, though, conversations happening whether or not Spencer or not Spencer's Anthony Volpe is the future second baseman. Right? That's assuming Jazz is not coming back, which I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be. So I think there is that conversation though of Volpe potentially playing second base, and Ronnie's saying no way. Jay Witt's saying I think Volpe can play for another Major League Baseball team, but at second base, not shortstop. I agree. Or he could play shortstop for a different team and he'll be better over there. It's a change of scenery. A change of scenery sometimes helps players out. A change of scenery helps players out. I think again personally, I think Volpe should be playing for a different organization. I think after this season is over, I think the Yankees need to find a way to trade Volpe and try to get something back. You're not going to get a whole lot back, but try to get something back, even if it's for some a prospect or two. I'd be fine with that. You know, try to get back some pitching or something for him. Rodney says I got to start packing for my vacation. Is it a vacation, Rodney? But I think he needs to be gone, man. I think Volpe needs to be gone. Again, I got no problems with him. I got nothing against him, but as a player, he just wasn't it. But he was given a long leash. He was given a very long leash, man. He had every opportunity to improve. But I also say that he was his own enemy. There were times where um, he showed he showed some promise, he showed some potential, but then he would resort to going back to the old habits. But yeah, I don't want to see Volpe as being the future second baseman. I really don't. Pool food family and all right, heck yeah, Ronnie. You said August 20th, right? We got for Peraza shooting up the, yeah, Pena. Yeah, I've been paying a little bit. I've been paying a little bit of attention to him, man. I was he's killing it down there, man. He is definitely killing it. He's definitely killing it down there. Hopefully he keeps doing what he's doing, and maybe he has a future with the squad. Who knows? Oh, Sunday night. Yeah, yeah. Cool, Rodney. What's up, Cecilia? I am not going to be going live for today's game. I'm not going to. Unfortunately, sadly, I'm not going to be able to go live for the Braves series just due to my schedule. Um, so maybe what I'll do if I have the time, I'll do like a pregame and have you all tune in for the Braves. So yeah, Yankees Braves. And you know something? I don't know if tonight there's going to be even a game. Just because I checked the weather in New York, and it says that it's going to be raining later today. So it looks like it's going to be raining around game time. So you wonder if there is going to even be a game today, right? I mean, I'll check the weather again. Joseph Salvatore says Jazz, Volpe, Grisham all gone next year. I'm sign me up. You could sign me up. Yeah, they're showing thunderstorms around 5 o'clock, and yeah, right around game time. Yeah, they're showing rain and thunderstorms. So yeah, there might not be a game tonight, right? So just looking at New York's weather, and it looks and seems to be the case tomorrow as well. There's going to be some rain and thunderstorms, but Sunday looks like the only day look really where they're going to be playing. But we'll see. We'll see how things turn out. But they are showing rain in the forecast, though. They are showing rain in the forecast, so we'll see what that looks like tonight. If there is going to be a game. But anyway, folks, yeah, I wanted to go live, right? I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this. If how people feel about starting Grisham over starting Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham, and looks like the majority of you agree. The majority of you agree. So I'm assuming though, and maybe I should have been a little bit more specific with the question. If if you all would are committed more in the short term, not the long term. Yeah, well, and it's funny. Sunil, Yankees have been playing quite a few double headers as of late. Seems like the weather has not been cooperating, and the Red Sox are right on the Yankees' tail, man. The Boston Red Sox, they're half a game behind the Yankees in the wild card, and yeah, it's getting a little scary there. I know I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm sure a lot of people when they looked at the beginning of the season how badly the Red Sox were playing, a lot of folks probably wrote them off. My thing is this: I didn't think the Red Sox were going to have this fire under them, right? The way they've been playing, but also I always say don't count out the Red Sox, but don't count anybody out in the AL East. The Red Sox right now they have that fire under them, just like the Rays, right? Both teams have that fire under them. So those are some dangerous teams right there. The team that really fell off in the AL East has been the Blue Jays. They're 15 games out, right? The Blue Jays had that fire last year, right? And now all of a sudden they are in last place in the AL East this season. So I asked the question, what happened? What happened to the Blue Jays this year? Because last year was a completely different story. They had some sort of like they had some sort of magical run, but what happened? Yeah, Beagle says the Red Sox fired their manager. You know, the Phillies fired their manager too. The Philadelphia Phillies, they fired Rob Thompson. They got Don Mattingly. And guess what? They are second place in the NL East, trailing the Braves by 8.5 games. So, yeah, the Braves, yeah, Yankees are going to have their hands full with them. The Braves are a tough team this year, man. Braves are a very tough team. They're 70-45. Yeah, they're a tough team. They got right now. It's by a game. I'm not going to make a big fuss out of it, but they're a game better than the Dodgers right now. I mean, the best team in the National League record wise is the Milwaukee Brewers, and they have the best they got the best record in all of baseball at the moment. Yeah, I mean, firing a manager doesn't always mean immediate results. Not always, right? It's not going to always mean immediate results. You got to give it time. But Red Sox, the Red Sox right now, they're having this magical run at the moment. I don't want to be the fifth seed in either scenario, whether we play Boston and Tampa Bay in a wild card series. Yeah, might as well lose intentionally then. Lose out. Uh, I hate that intentionally losing mentality. Definitely don't like it. I don't like that type of thinking. Yeah, the Braves. Yeah, the Braves are a really good team. Braves are a really good team. So I think somebody posted the pitching matchups. I think tonight it's going to be tonight. Max Fried is pitching. If I'm not mistaken. I think Max Fried is pitching. Hold on, let me search this real quick. Usually Chris Kirschner will post the probables, but if it is Max Fried, he's pitching against his former team, so that should be exciting. It should be Max. I'm thinking Max Fried, Garrett Cole, and then Schlittler. I never intentionally lose anything except for weight. Haha, that's funny. Yeah, Max Fried versus Tyler Maley. Yeah, I knew. So that's the matchup tonight. So just wondering what the matchups are going to be for the next two games, for the other games. Oh, here we go. I pulled it up. Yeah, so Tyler Maley, Max Fried tonight. Chris Sale versus Garrett Cole tomorrow. That should be a fun matchup. Then you got Grant Holmes versus Cam Schlittler. So we got some pretty good pitching matchups coming up this weekend. So that should be fun. What's up, Bill? Our birthday's in a couple days. Not happy birthday, man. So yeah, Freed, Cole, Schlittler those are your probables right there. So at least we got some good pitching going out there to face the Braves, right? Let's see what the pitching could do against the Braves. Braves got a Braves team is stacked, man. They're definitely stacked. So it's definitely gonna be tough, right? It's gonna be a tough game. But it's more or less what the bats are gonna do, right? In a short sample size, I so far I liked what I've seen from Luis Garcia Jr. And he shows a lot of promise. Heliot Ramos, I mean, it's only been again, I like I Ramos, I like him better than Dominguez at this point. At this point. So, I feel like Ramos is one of those guys that when he's at the plate, he'll make the opposing pitcher work, and definitely a hustler. And look what he said, or look what he did. When he hit that double, his shoe came off, helmet came off, didn't care. Gotta give him credit there. So it's more or less what the Yankees bats are going to do this weekend. The Yankees get guys on base. They do get the hits. It's just scoring the runs. That's specifically to me is the major issue with the bats. But I don't know. It's gonna like I said, it's gonna be a tough series. But the Yankees were able to pull it off against the Phillies. They were able to pull it off against the Cubs. Those were definitely two teams that I was certainly worried about. The Braves, again, different story with the Braves. The Braves they're a solid team. Currently, they're on an 8-game winning streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're away from when they play away from in the away games. They're 31-25 this year. 31-25. Yankees are 37-26 away from the stadium, and they're 27-25 at home. Yankees actually are a better away team than they are better at home. Weird. I didn't. I'm just like looking at the standings right now. Yankees are 5-5 in their last 10, where the Braves are 8-2. Yankees hitting coach needs to see a video of last night's Red Sox White Sox game. Yeah, that game went 12 innings. Oh my god, I didn't watch the game, but I know the Red Sox won in extra innings. Yeah, thank God he was safe, right? In all seriousness, I would like for the Yankees to potentially look into a different hitting coach. And no, not Giancarlo Stanton, but a serious hitting coach. I see. The thing is, I wish the Yankees did have Sean Casey as their hitting coach. I remember when they fired their hitting coach from 3 years ago, they hired Sean Casey to fill in. And Casey, I liked what he was doing with the team. The team looked better under him. The team was looking better. I wish he was. I wish he was. He did make a commitment to come back and help the Yankees out, but I know he left due to family obligations, which I don't blame him one bit. You do what you got to do. You got to take care of the family. So if it means spending more time with his family, I'm never going to argue with anybody when it comes to that. I'd be down with Paul O'Neill there, Bill, but I think Paul O'Neill is enjoying his time being a broadcaster, so I don't see Paul O'Neill being that guy. But to be honest with you, I don't know who that hitting coach would be, though. That's a good question. I wouldn't put Lombard at the leadoff spot. I like Lombard batting at the bottom of the lineup. I don't want Lombard at the top of the lineup yet. So I'd rather avoid that when it comes to Lombard. I don't want to put him in that spot yet. Let him continue batting where he is. Then maybe that could be a conversation in the future. Yeah, any of those guys that you guys are naming, those are not going to be it, man. I don't I don't see any of those guys being an option for the Yankees. It's going to be somebody we're not even thinking of. Again, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who that hitting coach would be. I have no idea. But the bottom line is the Yankees offense needs to do better. And I am going to say this. I think the Yankees should commit to Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham. They called up Lombard, so the message is clear. Lombard is your shortstop of the future at this very time until the Yankees say otherwise. But they brought him up because I say yes, he's definitely a better option than Volpe. He's better option than Caballero, and the Yankees certainly need to. I think they need to stick with Jones over Grisham. Because the bottom line is he's a better defender than Grisham. He's got more speed than Grisham. Sure, the bat isn't great, but neither is Grisham's. But neither one of those guys' bats is great. But guess what? Again, we already talked about it. With the Yankees' bats is just bad all around. Right? The offense is just bad all around. So it's not just a Trent Grisham Spencer Jones thing. It's the entire lineup thing. But from a defensive standpoint, though, I'd rather see Jones over Grisham right now. And I would have no problems with the Yankees designating Trent Grisham for assignment. I would have zero issues with that. I would have zero issues with that. But that's my thought process, though, folks. That's my thought process. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And then when the off season comes around, then the Yankees can look at their roster once again and see who's going to be the future. I mean, again, I don't want Christian back. Just I don't want him back on the team. It's just like the same way I feel about Anthony Volpe. Grisham's cool. I like what Grisham has done. He's come through in a lot of moments for the Yankees. This season just isn't it, man. Just isn't it. And so Jones could be your future center fielder, unless the Yankees go a different direction. What direction that is, I don't know. But but the defense in the outfield would be so much better with him. Imagine Bellinger in left, Judge in right, and Grisham, or not Grisham, but Jones in center. That is a powerful outfield right there. That's those are all three of those guys can play solid defense. Lombard has the poise, the arm, the glove, and the speed to play every day. Shortstop for the Yankees, he does. He does. Now let's see what he does with the bat. But the major league pitching is going to take advantage, man. Opposing pitchers are going to try and take advantage of Lombard. I Grisham is bad in center. But would he be better in left field? Questionable. Ramos in right field, I'd be more comfortable with that. I would have zero issues with Ramos playing right field. There's a lot of options here, people. There's a lot of options with how the outfield can be played now and how the outfield can be played in the future when it comes to the Yankees. So, you know, I know there's been talks of maybe moving on from Giancarlo Stanton, like not now, but after the season ends, you move on. You can move on from Giancarlo because when technically he does only have only 1 year left on his contract, right? He's got 2027, 2028 as a club option. I can't see the Yankees exercising that club option. They could decline that option, and then he could ride off into the sunset. But do the Yankees part ways with Giancarlo after the season? Do they DFA him, or could they potentially trade him? Yes, he does have a no trade clause. He does have a no trade clause, but I think the only team he would accept is the Dodgers. I mean, LA is his home. Too much money to eat, but it's only 1 year, man. Right? They still owed DJ LeMahieu money last year. I'm not trying to make a comparison to the two, but as far as player wise, but they owed money to DJ. They paid him for last year, and he's on the books for this year, and then he'll be off the books after the season. Bellinger in left, Dominguez in center, Jones in right. Move on from Stanton. Ramos fourth outfielder. Do you trust Dominguez in center field though? That's the thing. I don't think the Yankees organization trusts Dominguez in center field. Dominguez is better off in right field. I think that's the position he looked more comfortable in. Left field, forget about it. Right? I don't like his routes to left field. I mean, Ramos isn't good either, but he can't be any worse than Dominguez. He can't be worse than Dominguez. I think 100 million dollars to Giancarlo. I'm looking up his contract right now. Well, he's owed 19 million this season, and then 15 million next season. Then you got the club option for 2028, and there's a $10 million buyout for that. Miami's eating a lot of Stan's contract the last. Yeah, they are. Yep, indeed they are. With 5 million, but minus 10 from Marlins. Right. So we know because we know the Marlins are kicking in some of that money on Stanton's contract. So like I said, with 1 year left, I don't think it would necessarily be a bad thing. I know there was certain individuals out there that they wanted Giancarlo Stanton gone for like the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, but there was no way the Yankees were going to do that back then, especially with how he was playing in the postseason. The guy was your best player in the postseason. But at this stage, something to think about. I'm not saying the Yankees will do it, but it's something to think about. Yankees need to stay away from no trade clauses and long-term contracts. They are a curse. Yeah, but you know something. When it comes to long-term contracts, players are always going to look for that, right? They're always going to look for those long-term contracts, like the big stars. That is, they're always going to look for those types of contracts. Because they have a career. Um, they got a career ahead of them, and they got to get the best money possible. As far as no trade clauses, I hate the no trade clause, but I'm all for club option or mutual. I like those, but I don't. I hate the no trade. Yeah, but money talks there, Beagle. Sunil. But we'll see what happens, folks, moving forward. But there's definitely more and more we'll have more and more conversations like this. But my main goal for today's live stream was to talk about whether or not would you commit to Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham. My answer is I would. I would. Both guys offensively, neither one of them are hitting. You could talk about Spencer Jones striking out so much, but again, Grisham is not playing any better. So I will say that. And by the way, I don't know. There was some account on X that said that Mitch Garver signed a minor league deal with the Yankees, but I'm thinking it might be a fake report because I don't see the Yankees haven't said anything, and no beat writers say anything either. Bill O says I prefer a mutual option in these contracts. I'm with you. Mutual, I'm cool with. Club option, I'm cool with. But if you're not going to agree, if players don't agree to a club option, mutual is cool. Yeah, C Rod. I mean, I wish Cashman did get a relief pitcher. I'm very surprised he didn't even get one because Cashman is known to trade for at least one bullpen arm, but he made zero. I know there was a lot of pitching that got moved around the deadline, but how many of those guys I wonder were going to be factors in the bullpen? Would I sign Garver as a right-handed hitting backup catcher? I mean, he's got to be better than Sanchez, right? He's not going to be off the wall, but he's got to be better than Sanchez. But yeah, C Rod, I'd rather play Jones in center field better than Grisham. Yeah, Christian Betancourt, yeah, he's been killing it down there in the minors. Did the Yankees bring him up? So they're saying 37.5% for Spencer Jones. Well, Grisham is at 16.1, according to this little search that I just did. So his strikeout rate is actually down from last year. But Spencer Jones, yeah, His K rate is a lot higher. There's no doubt, but his defense though is so much better than Grisham's. But forget the K rate again. Like I said, neither one of those guys are hitting. 100. I think yeah. I think Jones would have caught. He would have caught at least one of those balls that were hit to center field in that final game of the series. Billo, just a food for thought. Yeah, it's an idea, right? Perhaps you bring him up and then you send Ali Sanchez back down. It's not it's another option, no doubt. But we'll see how things play out. Um, in the meantime, the Yankees offense, the bats, they got to wake up. They got to figure it out. They got to get their heads above water. They got to stop sinking in the sand. So, yes, guys are hurt, but the other guys have to step up. The rest of the guys in the lineup have to step up, and the time is now. The time is now. There's about what 48, 47, 48 games left in the season, right? There's still games to be played, but before you know it, it'll be the end of September. Where will this team be? Where will this team be? We got to ask ourselves that. But um, at the end of the day, the one thing I am happy about what the Yankees are doing, they're giving guys a shot from the minors, right? Oftentimes we've always, a lot of us, we've always talked about, the prospect hugging, and the Yankees don't play their guys. They're playing their prospects. Whether or not they work out is a different story, but they're giving guys chances. So let's see what Lombard does, right? Let's see if at some point do the Yankees think about sending, or do they play Spencer Jones over Grisham? So we'll see what happens. And the Red Sox, yeah, would it surprise me if they were in second place by the end of the weekend? Nope, wouldn't surprise me one bit. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. The Red Sox this weekend, who did they play? I'm gonna check. They're playing the Athletics, so it should be a series that they should win. But stranger things have happened. Well, we'll see what goes down this weekend. So the Yankees, they got a tough battle ahead of them against the Braves. The offense needs to figure it out, and they need to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me on this Friday. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And let's hope for a successful series for the New York Yankees. Let's see what they do against the Braves. It's definitely going to be a tough series. A's could surprise you, Billo says. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said you never know what's going to happen. And so MLB trade rumors just confirmed it. So usually they're a pretty good source that Yankees to sign Mitch Garver to a minor league deal. I mean, they posted it. Ted Schwerzler of MinnesotaSportsFan.com was the one who reported it. I have no idea who that is, but he's going to join. He'll be playing in the minors for Scranton. So let's just say that it is confirmed. It is confirmed. But there you go. But thank you to everybody for tuning in. You guys and gals are the best. Thank you to the new subscribers over the last week. The Strike Zone is on the road to 3,000 subscribers. So if there's anybody that is not subscribed and you're watching this channel for the first time, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. We are about 20 subscribers away from hitting 3,000. So hopefully we can hit that 3,000 sooner rather than later. But I'm going to end it right here. Thank you to everybody hanging out. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Look out. Just keep your notifications on. I may go live, right? So just make sure you keep your notifications on. I'll see you all next time. Let's go Yankees. Go out there, make something happen. Have a great one. See you all next time.